Hello Cancer, and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements, looking at your connection between you and the person that you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. We'll be pulling for all three sides of the connection, so we'll look at your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it. The concept being that there are three sides to every story. So we're looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. This middle section will be looking at what is the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and to leave what does not. On that note, and especially if you're a cross watcher, just know that this whole reading can be reversed. If that is the case for you, that is totally fine and totally normal. Again, the point is to take what helps and leave what doesn't. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. All right, Cancer, we're going to start with looking at overall energy through oracle cards first, and then we'll dive deeper into the story with tarot as we progress. But we're going to start with looking at overall energy for your side of this connection to the person you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. I also started posting a few general readings to my Instagram and TikTok accounts every week, and those won't be posted here. These readings will stay the same, but if you're interested in that additional content, that information for those accounts is below. All right, Cancer, your side of this connection to the person you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. Whoa, okay. Fate, ego, growth, and separation. Wow, okay. A lot has happened here. A lot happened, and I feel like a lot happened very quickly. So you were very drawn to this connection, and like from the get-go, I feel like when you met, it was very instant. Felt like you guys maybe had known each other before or forever. Like it feels like it was very much like, especially with this fate card, like this was meant to happen. And then I feel like there was a lot of potential here. Like with the growth, I feel like things started to evolve and things started to progress, and then something got in the way, and I feel like it was ego got in the way, and now the connection's in separation. So I don't know necessarily what this is referring to. I don't know who it's coming from, what exactly happened, but I do definitely feel that this has been a whirlwind of a situation for you. And honestly, you might just kind of be in this place of trying to make sense of what happened and trying to figure out, I don't know, a lot here. This person's energy toward you, Cancer. Codependency. So this person has very unhealthy dynamics when it comes to their romantic relationships, or maybe just relationships in general. And I feel like a lot of those really started to come out as the connection progressed. And I think that specifically it could be straight up codependency, but I also kind of see this codependency sometimes as the devil card, like that same type of energy, just unhealthy habits, unhealthy patterns that I feel really got in the way. And maybe that's the ego side of things, like things that were very ego driven or coming from a place of protection instead of vulnerability. And all of that really stems from this feeling, because I feel like this person struggles with the believing that they're worthy and deserving of love, which is always where our unhealthy patterns come from. They're always coming from a place of trying to protect us because deep down we don't believe we're worthy and deserving. But I feel that there's a lot more to understanding like what really happened here. Because again, for you, I feel like it was such a whirlwind, and it was so like this person's maybe behavior or things that they did were so confusing or just, I don't know, like unexpected maybe even, that, I don't know, you might be seeing it as through this lens of like, what did I do like to deserve this? Or I don't know. I just feel like things were this has been a very difficult connection to say the least. Truth of the connection between Cancer and this person. There's that growth card again. I feel like this connection was pushing both people to grow individually. Yeah, because there's manipulation. This, and then interference again, which I feel like is like the ego, the manipulative kind of energy. Okay, there's a lot to break down here because I feel like this connection was pushing both people to grow individually. And I feel like you, Cancer, have really been trying to step into that role of growth and healing and evolution. And I feel like this person, which stepping into the role of growth and healing and all of that, it requires vulnerability, right? It requires surrendering and taking an honest look at yourself in the mirror and being very real with yourself about what needs to change, how you need to do better, all the things. And I feel like this person's primary goal in this connection was very much control. And not control in the sense of trying to control you, but trying to maintain the control, which is literally the opposite of vulnerability. And I feel like because of that, their lack of vulnerability, their lack of maybe emotional honesty, it in the beginning maybe wasn't as prevalent, because in the beginning everybody kind of shows up as their best self, right? The version of them that they kind of want to be. And then as time goes on, who somebody really is, which ultimately I see is like where somebody is at on their journey, like the capacity of being able to give and receive love healthily, the level of their healing, things of that nature, like that starts to come out. And I feel like that ultimately is the biggest thing that interfered with this connection, and ultimately was like this person's unwillingness to grow. Because, I mean, all healthy relationships push you to grow, push you to heal and to evolve. Or all relationships, even healthy ones, they push you to grow. And the goal isn't to find somebody who's perfect, right? I've always said this. The goal is not to find the perfect person, because nobody is perfect. And if you're searching for a perfect person, you're never going to find it. But searching for somebody who's willing, right? Who's willing to take accountability, who's learning to look at themselves, or who's willing to look at themselves honestly and through a lens of self-reflection. And that willingness is so incredibly important, because if it's only one-sided, then one person is going to feel like no matter how much growth or healing or whatever that they do, it feels like it's never enough. Because if one person's growing and healing and evolving and reflecting and one person's not, then it's always going to feel a little lopsided, a little one-sided. And I feel like this connection has kind of has this imbalance here to it almost. Overall theme of this reading for Cancer, but I don't know. We'll dive into this deeper, looking at what's going on. Unresolved issues. And that's the thing here, Cancer, is I feel like you're still trying to understand why they behaved a certain way. Because I don't know necessarily what happened, and maybe I won't. Maybe I'll get a better idea when I dive into tarot, but I feel like you're like, what? Like, I kind of hear, like, what the hell was that? Like, it just feels like it was just so confusing and, like, maybe unexpected and out of the blue. What else here? Options are kept open. Never really feeling like a priority or like a choice. I feel like that was kind of a big thing. Even though they were your priority and choice, and maybe you did in the beginning, but then eventually you didn't. And we outgrew each other, which I feel like is more so kind of looking at it through this lens of, you were doing that work and wanting this person to kind of do that work with you so that you both could grow and create this health. Because that's the most beautiful thing, I think, truly. At least in my experience with relationships and having met my husband, the most beautiful thing has been finding somebody to grow with. Like recognizing that we're both imperfect, but that we're also both actively trying to show up to do better. And there's proof of that, right? It's not just words. It's we've watched each other's behavior change. And I think that, it's really hard when, and I again, from experience, like in past relationships, when you're doing the one who's trying to make the relationship work and trying to grow and trying to heal and trying to communicate and putting in all of this effort and just feeling like it's incredibly one-sided. That's what it feels like. It feels like it was a one-sided connection. Not in terms of feelings, okay, but in terms of like effort. Cancer side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. Ten of Pentacles. Yeah, in reverse, okay. I feel like you did a lot for this person and for this connection, and maybe you still do. I don't know. I kind of get the feeling that there's still like a connection here, even if there is a separation. You were very much the source of stability for this person, maybe financially, maybe emotionally. I feel like you brought so much to this connection, and I feel like you were invested and you were just showing up like day in and day out, but it felt like you were never really appreciated here. Cancer side of this. Never really appreciated, because like the Ten of Pentacles in reverse is this feeling of like being undervalued, and yeah, Strength in reverse. And I feel like over time it started to really affect or like chip away even at your self-worth and feelings of being good enough, because no matter how much you showed up and how much you gave, it just felt like, okay, I'm still not being reciprocated. Like this person isn't supporting me in the ways that I'm supporting them. Like why don't they see me as enough or see me as valuable? Why aren't they prioritizing me and choosing me and showing up for me as much as I am them? And maybe even like too, and this is kind of more coming from experience that I've had in these types of relationships, but like you're watching them prioritize every other things too. It's like, well, they can put all of this effort into work and they can put all this effort into their friendships, but why don't they put that effort into me? Like they put this effort into the family, into their family. Why don't they put it into me? Like I feel like it just felt like you were carrying so much here for a long time too. And I think that it made it extra hard because with this Fate card, you were like, I feel like we were supposed to meet. So like almost things not working out maybe started making you go, oh, you know, if it doesn't work out, I might not be able to have the love that I deserve. Or like this is, you know, I'm missing an opportunity of what could be because this person isn't showing up. And it's important for you to know that's not the case. But sometimes like those dynamics can bring up those feelings. There's a lot of anxiety that I feel like you have regarding this connection. And I think that it's hard because I feel like you care deeply about them as a person and you care deeply about, you know, you want to be there for them and you want to support them. Like I don't feel like anything you did was necessarily out of obligation. I feel like it was very much out of love and care and compassion. But I just feel like it was so hard because it just felt like it was never met. Yeah, Ten of Wands in reverse. You carried a lot of their burdens for them. Like always there to fix their problems and always there to, like especially seeing that codependency, and I said the devil, like if you're dealing with somebody who struggles with addiction or unhealthy habits, like even outside of relationships, it's like you were always like, like I hear like bailing them out or like fixing their problems in a way. And I think that, again, you did it because you loved them and you cared about them, but you just never saw the change or the shift that you were wanting here. Yeah, the Five of Wands. There's a lot of conflict here. A lot of conflict. And I think that you were also very conflicted too, because I think it's like you have this love and this empathy and this understanding and all of these things for this person. But then at the same time, you're like, man, I'm tired. Like I've been, you know, dealing with so much in this connection and with this person. And I just want, you know, I want to feel supported too. Like that's kind of what I feel like. I want to feel supported too. And that's the thing is, you know, no relationship is 50-50, but it should even out to about 50-50. And I'm not saying you should keep score, but you know, when you're in a healthy reciprocal relationship, you have this ability to be able to understand that if you're not able to show up in the way that, you know, you're used to because you're tired or you're overworked or you're going through stuff, like you can trust that that person's going to, right? So some days maybe you do have 50-60% and they only have, you know, 40-50%. But then on other days, maybe you are the one who only has like 30-40%. And, you know, most in healthy relationships, that person should kind of come in and pick up the slack for you. And it feels like it was like if you were expected to kind of be the one who was doing the supporting and it was showing up. I have dog hair in my eyes, that's what I'm picking at my eye. Regardless of how you felt, like your needs, your desires, your feelings, it feels like weren't really taken into account here. even though I feel like you were putting in so much effort. Like, there's so much effort here. And I'm not saying you were perfect, right? Like, we all make mistakes, but I feel like in terms of effort and trying to, be supportive, I feel like you were a very supportive person here. Maybe you still are. Like, I still get the feeling maybe you still are, but I feel like there's, I don't know. Let's just see. Goodness sakes. This person's energy toward you. Cancer. Know your worth with codependency. Oh, interesting. Oh, interesting. Okay. The world with the Ten of Swords. They're stuck in a cycle where it's like they keep recreating this Ten of Swords. Hang on. This person's energy toward you, Cancer. It's like they're looking for somebody to save them, but they're not doing the work to save themselves. The Six of Swords. This is in reverse, right? Yeah. Queen of Swords on the bottom here. You could be dealing... Oh, but then there's a Queen of Pentacles. So that could be air sign or earth sign. Libra, Aquarius, Gemini, or Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. But I feel like this is just more so like... Oh, this person's very confusing. I'm not going to lie to you. They want to be saved, but they're not doing the work to save themselves. And we can't save others. It's like they need to be saved from themselves in some way too, because there's a lot of self-sabotage in this. A lot of making unhealthy and unaligned choices and decisions, especially like ones that are very, like the word toxic here. The Star in reverse, the Page of Swords. And here's the thing. I feel like you, like maybe not a lot of people. Oh, there's the Emperor in reverse. Okay. Not a lot of people really got to see this person for who they really are. And I feel like you did. I feel like you, and maybe that's why you were so, you were here and you were wanting to help them. And I feel like you saw their heart. And like I said, not a lot of people gets to see that side of them. This is a lot. Okay. This person is like trapped in, the best way I can put it is like in recreating their own misery. Like they make decisions that lead to getting hurt and then want to be saved from those decisions. So like a lot of self-sabotage, a lot of making unhealthy choices that are like pretty blatantly unhealthy or like not very aligned. And then it's like rinse and repeat. And I think that okay, yeah. The way that they treat themselves or the way that it's like they have this desire, right, for this connection. They have this desire to be loved, to be seen, to be heard, to be valued. Like they have that desire. And I feel like that desire matches yours. But there's like no effort in actually showing up for that. Like I don't see any growth. I don't see any healing, especially with the Star in reverse. There's almost like this avoidance of healing. Like, and that's the thing, is people can say that they want to change, but the only real apology and sign of change is like actual changed behavior, right? And it feels like this person just repeats this cycle of doing things that don't align with what they desire, and then like almost be like in this victim mentality about it, where they're like, oh my gosh, things suck because of these decisions that I made. And it's like, but you made those decisions. I don't know. It's like, and you're always there to support them and to help them and to pick them back out of this hole. But it's almost like it's like you're trying to save them from drowning and they're like fighting against you. It's so interesting. And it makes me feel really bad for them because I actually can relate to this in a lot of ways. Before I started my spiritual journey and healed and actually kind of looked at myself honestly, I made a lot of really not so good decisions that hurt me, that hurt other people, and I didn't do it intentionally, but that wasn't an excuse. I was very driven by my wounding, and I made decisions that very much reflected what I believed that I deserved, and I didn't believe that I deserved a whole lot. And anyone that came along to try to help me or to love me, I typically pushed them away. Again, not intentionally, but because that's how I was wired. And I didn't, I would feel lonely and I'd feel abandoned and I'd feel all of these things and, I'd point fingers at other people. And until I really got real about the role that I played in my own suffering, nothing changed. And I spent so long waiting for the right person to come around and to save me and to finally be everything that I wanted and needed. And I had several people try, but I had to save myself first. I had to step into the version of myself that I wanted to become, the version of myself that reflected the worth that I held instead of the worth that I didn't believe that I hold. And I think that, when it comes to where this person is at, there's, all of this potential that I feel like you see in them and you see in this connection. I feel like you're trying so hard to bring that out in them and you're investing and you're showing up and there's just no change here. And I think that, one of the hardest lessons that we have to learn is we have to let people be where they're at, right? We have to let people make the decisions that they're going to make, because unless we can't save, fix, or heal people who aren't working towards saving, fixing, and healing themselves, because we can support people on their journey, but we can't be the source of their healing, right? We can't make somebody heal. We can't make somebody grow. We can't even make somebody see that they need to if they're so rooted in ego, because ego doesn't want you to change. Ego wants you to stay exactly as you are, not because it wants what's bad for you, but when you're so used to suffering and to being alone and to not having what it is that you need and what it is that you desire, you learn how to survive in those places. And it's not what you want, but it's what you're used to. So you make decisions that drive you back into those places, even though everything in you wants something different. And I feel like that's what's happening here. There's a need for honesty, there's a need for self-reflection, there's a need for this person to take accountability and to start to show up for themselves. And I think that understanding too that the way that this person is behaving, and I say this in almost every love reading that I do, is a reflection of how much they value themselves, not how much they value you. Because people don't treat you how they value you. They treat you how they value themselves, right? Everything that we do, the way we show up for other people, the way we speak to other people, it's all a projection. It's a projection of, ourself and of things we like or dislike about ourselves. And until we stop attacking the mirror and we start seeing the mirror as a partner in our growth and in our healing, we are going to find ourselves at war with ourselves consistently, where we have these things that we desire, but the way that we show up is completely opposite of that. And, what's hard is, letting people be where they're at is about trusting that we are not here to fix, save, and heal in other people. And we're not here to fix, save, or heal other people. And we're also not here to tolerate mistreatment from people who refuse to do the work themselves. And we have to be honest about that with ourselves, oh my goodness. We have to be honest about how, no matter how much we love somebody else, we can't be for them what they need to be for themselves. And when it starts to affect us, when it starts to affect your mental health, your emotional health, the way that you view yourself, Spirit is asking you to take a look at your mirror, right? Because we attract and accept the level of love that we believe that we deserve. And we might see potential in another person, but if we're accepting mistreatment or a lack of effort or reciprocation because we just have so much empathy for somebody else's experience, we might be under empathizing with our own because we're not taking our own needs, feelings, and desires into account, which means that we're actually staying in the lack of love that we're used to instead of choosing the love that we truly desire, kind of like this person, right? That's the mirror there. So I feel like Spirit is asking you to look at this from a little bit of a different perspective to try to understand this person from a different place, not because I think understanding them is important like for you to have the love that you deserve, but more so because it's important for you, I feel like, on your healing journey and understanding the bigger picture side of things. But we're going to jump on over to the extended. I'm going to dive deeper into this. We're going to look at interference with growth, looking at the deeper purpose and the best way for you to move forward in alignment with your higher self. Any information for that is in the description box below. Thank you so much, Cancer, as always, for your support of my channel. I do obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing, and I wish you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Cancer.